All right, we need to talk about perimeter and area and volume today. So tonight, I want you to take these notes and work some practice problems, and then tomorrow we're going to apply this in your PRBL, which hopefully we'll have time to get the major part of the calculations and the construction done tomorrow, and then we'll um, do the experiment part on Monday, along with some practice. But first thing, review of perimeter and area. When we're talking about perimeter, rectangles, perimeter of a rectangle, always perimeter is just the distance around an object. No matter what the shape is, it's just the distance around the sides. With a rectangle, we have a formula for perimeter that is P equals L plus W plus L plus W, or P equals 2L plus 2W. That works just as well. So, what if I don't know all of the pieces? In this problem here, I have some of the pieces, but I don't have all of the pieces. Well, I have enough pieces to figure it out. So if I have a rectangular garden that measures 40 feet by 24 feet, so I know that P equals 2 times 40 plus 2 times 24. That's a good way to figure this out. I don't even have to do all the adding in and filling in all these holes, because I can just multiply the length and the width each times 2 and then add them up, because they're the same, because it's a rectangle. So we have that the perimeter of the rectangle is 2 times 40 plus 2 times 24. In this case, the perimeter is equal to 80 plus 48. That means that his perimeter is 80 plus 48, which is 128. 128 what? 128 feet. Always put your units on these problems so that we know what we're talking about. So that's how much fencing he needs. He needs 128 feet of fencing. Now, to review area, remember that the area is the amount of space inside an object. So if I wanted to know how much space there is inside the fence, that's what I'm looking for. So the area formula, which we will remember from last year, is length times width. Length times width is area. In this case, we know that the length is 40 and the width is 24. So area equals 40 times 24. Okay, so I can multiply 24 times 40. There's a 0, there's 16, and that's 9, and that's 960. We're in feet, so these are going to be square feet, or feet squared, however, which way you want to write that, okay? Now, those should be review problems. Those should be review problems. So, one other thing that we need to think about, if we wanted to find the area of a shape that's not quite a rectangle, for instance, this one, I have this shape right here, and I can draw a little imaginary line, and I'm going to do that right now. I can't do it there. Let me see. Let's see if I can draw an imaginary line here. No, that's not going to work. Let me close that. Let me just draw it on the paper. We have our shape right here. Here's my shape. This is 3, this is 3, this is 5, and this is 4. Well, I could draw an imaginary line right here. Now I have two rectangles. This one is 5 by 4, and this one is 3 by 3, which means it's actually a square. So the area of the rectangle, area equals 5 times 4, equals 20. And then the area of the square, area equals 3 times 3, which equals 9. Add those together, and that means the area of the whole thing is 29 square feet, or meters, as the case might be. 29 square meters. All right, now let's talk about volume, because that's really where we're going with our PRBLs. We want to find volume, so there's a simple formula for volume as well. Volume is also a formula for the amount of space that a thing takes up, but it's three-dimensional. Three-dimensional. So if you will, imagine this. If I have the area of a base, and then I stack more of the same on top that are the same area, I just add all of those up. In this case, this is somebody who's using these little cubes to count, and he's figuring the volume this way. So if he's got one layer and there's 8 cubes, then how many are in 2 layers? There's 16. In 3 layers is what? Well, we can do our little math here, fill out our input-output table. We know that it's 1 times 8, 2 is 16, 3 times 8 is 24, 4 times 8 is 32, and so forth. So there's a multiplicative pattern here that takes place. Now, the formula, what's the formula going to be? We have 8 because it's the area of the base. So volume equals the area of the base times the height. The area of the base times the height. Or, in this case, if it's a rectangular prism like this, volume equals the length times the width, which is the area, times the height. That's all we have to do. So in the case of Margot's model here that she's making, we know that the area of the base, or the length times the width, is going to be 4 times 2, because you see here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 2 rows of 4, times the height, which is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the volume equals 8 times 5, and that means that the volume equals 40. There's centimeter cubes, so centimeters cubed with a 3. We can do that and relate the area to the volume just by multiplying the height times the volume. Alright, so I'm going to post some practice problems on Haiku for you after you watch the video. I'd like you to take notes and watch the video, and we'll see you tomorrow.